Are back, episode 15 of Chef's Kiss. It's me, Peter Sheff, and we got John LaLogia, my co-host. What's up, John?
What's up, Sheff?
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Are you feeling okay today?
I'm feeling good. We have a
Wasn't
softball
convincing.
softball game tonight. My OPS is pretty good. We've been keeping stats, so I'm just trying to keep my team leading OPS.
Gotcha. Yeah, you sound a little
in slow pitch underhand softball.
Hey, dude. The teams that I were on, they always kept score. They had a website and they kept score. So
Yeah, we have a Google sheet that everyone keeps their stats in.
Yeah,
and it's fun. It's supposed to be fun, but it is a point of contention. People, there's like on the text thread, people get very. It's a hot button issue. I almost wish like we didn't create it, but it is kind of cool. I do like following my own stats. I appreciate them collecting them.
Yeah, it's nice to see your name at the top of some of these categories, right?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Even though it is a slow pitch softball record,
doesn't matter.
I'm like, I lead the team in OPS. That's awesome.
If you're gonna
runs, with one.
If you're gonna do something, John, you want to do it the best of your ability, and you want to be the best at it, right? Otherwise, why are we competing? That's what competitors do when they whatever it is. When you see Michael Jordan pitching pennies, like he wants to win regardless, right?
I agree, and I play hard. Like I play, I hit a base hit the other day, and the guy that was taking the ball in from the outfield, the second baseman, was on the edge of the grass, wasn't even standing on second base.
Damn, respect.
So I swiped second base, and I got yelled at for it by the other team. They're like,
yeah,
that's bullshit. I was like, hey, I'm playing hard. I took a hard turn. You weren't even at second base, so I was like, there's no way he's going to catch me. He's going to be able to catch it and then beat me to the bag.
Right.
And he didn't. And then I got yelled at. He goes, dude, what are you doing, man? Take it easy. I'm like, take it easy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to win here.
I'm getting an extra base hit, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah. I was like, that's a double in the scorebook because you weren't standing on the base like you were supposed to.
Yeah,
this is basic. Yeah, this is basic 101 stuff.
That's why you guys won't be in the playoffs.
Exactly. It's so funny. This 45-year-old guy giving me shit. I was like, get out of here, dude.
Yeah, he's having a hard time at home. Obviously.
Yeah, there's something else going on there.
Yeah,
he's getting upset about that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, man. But I'm good. I want to talk about the Blindside controversy.
Yeah.
So you kind of put it. So you wrote an article. You put out some stuff.
It was harshly written.
It was not necessarily well received by the audience. But let's start with getting your take on it, and then you can talk about your experience with the backlash or whatever, and then I'll kind of give you my take on it after reading more about it and watching a couple of videos and stories on it.
So when I first heard about it, I was interested, obviously, and then everybody piles on.
Let's explain what it is for the listeners.
Sure.
So The Blindside was a movie in 2009 chronicalizing the real-life story of offensive lineman Michael Orr from Mississippi, who was homeless, was taken in by this family, and eventually went to Ole Miss, and eventually was drafted by the Ravens. And they made a movie, The Blindside, in 2009, and I believe Sandra Bullock won Best Actress Academy Award. Yeah.
So everybody thinks they know everything, right? On social media. I don't know everything, right? I gave my take, my understanding, but everybody's got the facts, right? Everybody says they made $300 million. Who the fuck do you know that you know what money came in? So, all right. Apologize for that. So what I wrote was a strongly worded article, okay? Because I was sick and tired of seeing these people, okay, who factually brought in a homeless adolescent who didn't have a home. Granted that he was playing football previously. The movie was not an accurate depiction. A lot of it wasn't, okay? Also, this family are not writers. They didn't tell the movie studio this is how it needs to be written. So there's a lot of stuff saying they lied about the story and they said he was an idiot and he's not an idiot. No shit. They're not the writers. They're not writing the movies. So people got upset because they say they stole $300 million from proceeds from the movie that didn't get to go to Michael Oher. They're saying they're scummy, blah, blah, blah. So first you need to understand that that money doesn't go to the family, okay? That goes to the movie studio. The movie studio produced it for $290 million or something like that, and the profit was $300 million. So you're paying actors, you're paying screenwriters, you're paying producers. That money, $300 million, did not go to the family. This is what I've been reading, okay? The family was paid $14,000 each. Each of them received $14,000. They divvied it up for the rights to the movie, okay? So people were saying they tricked him into signing a conservatorship as opposed to adopting him.
3 weeks after he turned 18.
The father came out and said Tennessee law back then, 10, 15 years ago, NCAA was a lot different. So you cannot legally adopt a person over 18 years old, which to me, I didn't think, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. They said the only way he can play at Ole Miss is if you sign this conservatorship and he's a part of your family, because the NCAA did not like him living with the Tuohys for so long. So in my mind, what bothers me is people, their rationale is this family saw this homeless big guy that was, he's big, he is athletic, brought him into his home. He's a stranger. Their game plan was to say, we're going to bring this guy in. We're going to send him to a private school. We're going to give him a tutor. We're going to give him every opportunity he can to excel in his life. And then when he gets to the NFL, it's going to be a great story, and then there's going to be a movie about it, and then we're going to profit off of it. That was some people's rationale, and that was so stupid, in my opinion. I don't believe that that's their long-term plan. They invited a stranger into their home. They took care of him. They bought him. I don't know if it was true in real life. They bought him a car, but they did send him to private school. They hooked him up, man. I mean, they took care of him. They gave him food. They lived in a mansion. Gave him a tutor. Gave him every opportunity to succeed, and he did. And that should be celebrated. So people, this is his story. He deserves to profit off of it. And according to the family, they didn't get money from the movie. They got the rights to the movie that they got. So that's a brief synopsis of what I had to say. It was strongly worded, obviously. This is his third book, by the way, John. He wrote 3 books about his life story, okay? 2011, 2018, and now 2023. Same thing. So the timing is very weird as well. So now it's 2023. I looked at statistics. 80% of the NFL broke 3 years after they get out of the league. Is this a money grab? I don't know. But 14 years later, you see a lot of pictures. I saw pictures with him and the Tuohys after the Panthers won the NFC Championship game. He looked pretty happy. Didn't have a complaint there. So why is this all of a sudden coming out now? That's what I have to say about that. John, tell me what you think.
Well, from what I've been reading, he signed this conservatorship 3 weeks after he turned 18, and he alleges that the couple tricked him in signing in a document that made him his conservators, giving them full control over his contracts and not legally making him part of the family. And what I read is that the family profited off the movie, and he received none of the profits. So my only issue is if that movie was hugely successful, if he didn't see any of the profits, there's something wrong there. There's a problem.
Okay.
There's a definite problem. Now, good for these people on taking him in and helping him. I think that was a noble. Was it totally altruistic? I don't know. We don't know what's inside these people's heads, but we do know that they were big Ole Miss fans, and you definitely couldn't foresee a homeless guy. You couldn't foresee him being in. There's a bunch of big guys. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good offensive lineman. There's so many other qualities. So there's no way they could have foreseen that. But from what I'm reading, when they got the sense that he was good and he did show some potential, it does, from what I'm reading, and it does seem like they did take advantage of him.
So, John, when you say contracts, why didn't this ever come up in NFL contracts that he signed?
And that's to your point. Why is this coming out now? Is it because he needs money? You know, like you said, he's written a couple books. So I think this is a hot button issue because people love this movie. And by your article, what you're doing essentially is you're ruining that. You're ruining that story. You're ruining that movie for so many people who love that movie. And I think it's frustrating for them to hear that. I think.
I thought I would be saving it. I thought I would. My point would be saving it. My point being that it wasn't some terrible scheme to rid him out of money. That's the narrative that's been going out, and this family has $300 million that the movie studio was just like, here you go, John. You know how movies work. You know how screenwriters and actors those profits for the movies. You sell the rights to a movie. Look at Rocky. Sylvester Stallone did not want to sell the rights to Rocky unless he played the lead role. If he sells the rights to that movie, that screenplay, he doesn't get profits from it. You're selling that to get that money up front.
He doesn't become Sylvester Stallone if he does
100%.
that. Those are the smartest things he ever did. They kept giving him more and more money if he didn't play Rocky, and he goes, no, I have to play him.
Right.
It's interesting, in Good Will Hunting, when Ben Affleck and Matt Damon wrote the scripts for Good Will Hunting, they were like 25, and they're like, the script's great. There was a bidding war over the script, and they were getting more and more money because studios were like, we don't want these nobodies in this movie. And their answer to them was Sylvester Stallone. And once they got Robin Williams on board, they were like, okay, I guess these guys are going to star in this movie. This is the only way we're going to be able to get the rights to the script.
Yeah,
I think it's touchy. Like, do I think they took advantage of him a little bit? Probably. Do I think they helped him off the streets and did a lot of good for him? Yes. Both things can be true. I think it's why it's a hot button issue. And people feel very, very strongly. People love that story, and they love that movie, and they want that to be
the reality.
The reality. They don't want anything to change that. People love movies. They don't want to go back and rewrite history. They don't want revisionist history, especially a great movie that you love. Imagine like something came out and it totally changed your perception on it.
Right.
That's happened to me, certainly. Like in like certain comedies or comedians. Like I love The Cosby Show. And everything I know about Bill Cosby, like I don't watch
look at
the
it
show.
the same.
I don't look at the show the same. It was one of my favorite shows growing up. I used to watch it all the time, and now it's still on reruns because we still have cable. Don't ask me why. It's another whole conversation. But when I see it, I don't have the same sense of joy, and I don't enjoy it the same way I did. And it sucks. And I feel like that's what the story is doing, because that movie is so beloved and won so many awards, and now people might not look at it the same.
Yeah, I obviously nobody knows all the answers yet,
No, of course not.
and that's the thing too, is people speak very definitively about it, and
let me ask you this question though: why the vitriol? Why specifically? Because you write a lot of stuff, you have a lot of hard takes and strong opinions. Why specifically this one did the audience? Do you really feel some backlash?
Race was an issue for sure. In the comments, I think it's got over 250 comments so far.
What, because you're white?
Yes, because I was defending the rich white people who took and stole from a young black man. So that was in the comments a lot, called racist, defending the rich white people, that kind of thing. So that, I'm not going to say that hurts because nobody knows me. So your opinion doesn't matter. But it's also like you just can't, you shouldn't be throwing those around. Here's why I was so worked up, John, is because people feel nowadays that they are entitled to everything. Okay, if Michael Orr knew what he knew now back then, if they told him, Mike, this is what's going to happen, do you think he would have turned down all those opportunities? My guess, and I don't know this, my guess would be no. He would say, no, I just want a place to sleep. I want to go to college. I want to take whatever. That would be my guess, because that's what I would think. So I'm very appreciative for things because I work for the things that I have. I didn't come from a rich family. My father was an entrepreneur, a barber, gave us a very good life. So when we have something nice, that's why I have OCD. Everything that I have that is nice is nice. My camera, no nicks, no scratches. Cell phone, look at that, no case, no scratches, because I'm very OCD about things that I care about.
Is that Justin Fields as your background?
No, it's Jalen Hurts.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's another story, hot button issue. But just, if these people made any kind of money, obviously $300 million is stupid. When people are saying that, if that were true, that would be very shitty. Okay, I understand. But
If they made a lot of money and he didn't get any, there's something wrong. There's something wrong there.
How many times did Michael Orr cut them a check after he went to the NFL? Curious about that. Not that it would matter, but I'm curious.
Well, he did. He helped Collins, the daughter. I think she had like some baking or cooking venture, and he gave her the startup cash for that. The son, he bought him a car, so he was very generous with his money towards the family. I do know he did that.
Okay, so no vitriol, no hard feelings back then, I guess. And that's when SJ was at least 16 years old if he bought him a car.
Yes.
So, again, the timing, very bizarre. But if that's me, John, if I had someone take me under their wing and I really had no shot, had nowhere to live, and we both don't know what that's like, and they kind of took care of me and gave me private school, college education, tutoring, I wouldn't be worried about money unless I was broke and I started to have to start pulling things apart and saying, you know what, I never got money from that movie because everything else looked pretty happy-go-lucky up until then.
I'm with you, and I totally agree. And I think he should be, and I think he should be appreciative, and that's not lost on me. But if he can still be appreciative of what they did for him, and we can also point out that if it comes out that this family raked in more than $14,000 each and Michael Orr didn't make a single penny, that's messed up, and that's on the family. That's a family taking advantage of this kid. I'm not saying we totally know those details yet, and if we do and those comes out, but like I think that's why. And so to your point, the haters or people, the race thing, I wrote a book a couple years ago, and I shared a story about how I was a bartender at Applebee's, and I didn't know how to make any drinks, and I was terrible at it.
I don't think any of them do, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, most of them don't. And I explained, I was like, I really should not. And they're like, we need someone who's 21 and you're
just a body.
Yeah,
we need bodies.
And I go, okay, fine, whatever. And I wrote this story, and it's a story about how I kept messing everybody's drinks up, and I was eating, these gummy worms that were supposed to be for kids, like dirt shakes, and I ate them all, and I got called in the manager's office and shit. So anyway, hijacks ensue. But I remember, so I was on a podcast at a friend's wedding. It's called Podcast Outside. It's a very popular podcast, and they cut a clip from my story and made it their social media drop and to promote the episode, which was really cool. And it was very funny. It got a ton of traction on TikTok and hundreds of thousands of views. And then I saw a comment in there that's like, wow, the height of white privilege, this job. And I just remember thinking, first of all, I was like, I didn't give a shit. I was like, I don't fucking care. This is my story. This is what I'm just sharing a story of what happened to me. It has absolutely nothing about white privilege. It's just a story. To make this about race has absolutely nothing to do with it. If the Tuohys took advantage of Michael Orr, it wasn't because of his race. It was because of his youth and his inexperience. You know what I mean? If it comes out to be that. So the fact that people are upset about that's just the internet.
Sure.
And just because you're white doesn't mean you can't make a statement like that. And it doesn't mean that you're, racist or anything. I think that's just the internet being the internet.
Sure.
And who cares?
Yeah, of course. My argument to some of the things in the comments as well, that's his story. He should profit off of it. My argument is that's that's not his story without them. That's not the same story. So
The story involves all of them, so all of them should receive.
Yes.
If they were compensated monetarily, all of them should have received money. So if it comes out that the family did, and it was more than 14,000, and he didn't get a penny of it, that's a problem. Then they take advantage of him.
Can we agree that it's egregious to say that this family made over $300 million from the movie?
I don't know. That movie was so popular. I honestly don't know. That seems like a lot. That seems like a stretch to me. Now, I don't know officially, but that seems like a stretch.
Because
$300 million seem like, at first glance, I would say that's ridiculous. There's no way.
That's coming from, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that number is coming from the gross profit from the movie. That's where they're getting this number from. The gross profit from the movie.
Well, so, the movies, like, you have to pay actors, you have to pay writers. There's so many people on the payroll that you have to disperse that money to. So it's not just going.
And the studio keeps majority of it.
Yeah, of course, most of it. Who's putting up the money, get the majority of the profits. So I think there's a lot we don't know yet, but. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting story. It's interesting it's coming out now, so we'll just kind of see how it plays out.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I'm trying to think if I had anything else on there. Just, some of the numbers were kind of obscure, whatever. I just like when people are appreciative, and if I went to the NFL, I remember he got a 4-year contract, I think. Maybe it was with the Titans or something, but, he's made plenty of money. Not saying that he doesn't deserve it or anything, but... I don't know. The timing is bizarre.
The timing is bizarre. I think he is appreciative of what they did for him, but I think he feels that there was something in the contract or he was tricked and he was wronged, and he wants justice.
Yes,
both things can be true. I don't think he's not appreciative. Sure. I think he is appreciative. But I also think he discovered something. The timing is weird. We're going to find out more about that. And
the book.
And then we'll figure out what the truth is. But
the book release too, John. The book release that just came out this year. I think that's bizarre as well. How many people do you think are going to go and buy that book right now?
Obviously it'll help sales.
Sales are going to go up for sure. And like I said, none of this.
If he's doing this because he needs money and this is some publicity stunt, then that's disgusting and that's terrible. But we don't know all the facts. It's going to play out in court, and we'll find out. The statute of limitations is going to be interesting because it's late and it's almost too late to file this suit because it happened so long ago.
He's 37.
So he's going to
happen at 16.
From a legal standpoint, I'm not a lawyer, but from what I read, that's going to be his biggest problem. Because he just said, he just discovered it. So we'll see how that plays out. That might be tough.
Good convo, dude. Yeah, so lost 200 followers for that. I'm going to miss you guys. I'm sure you all watch the podcast as well. So, you know what, too, John? It's like an airport. It's like everybody announces that they're leaving. Unfollow, goodbye. Like it's not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. So keep that in mind, guys.
They're trying to get under your skin. They're trying to upset you. Who cares? Don't let them.
No, I know. I did feel a little down today, though. If I'm just being honest,
I can tell it's bothering you, and that's why I'm here, looking into your eyes virtually, and saying, "Don't worry about it."
Right? Yeah, I know. It's just it
bothers you, and you shouldn't let it. Who cares about these people?
I don't, John. 90% of the time, I'm very thick-skinned. Okay, I understand how the internet works and stuff like that, but it's very a bizarre thing because I don't do things to get people's approval. I'm not out looking for it. Some guy wrote like, "You're going to lose followers." I'm not here to please people on the internet. But it's almost like sales where it's like you do want engagement. You do want likes. Sure. You do want that kind of stuff to continue to grow. So it's almost, it's kind of like you get hit in the gut and you're like, oh, shit, like maybe that wasn't best for the brand or whatever. But I always want to stay true and authentic to myself. And I'm sure, Portnoy has made decisions like that before too, where, you say something and it's not popular, but I'd rather say something unpopular that I believe in and then, kind of just agree with everybody else just because it's the easy way out.
I completely agree. I mean, the only currency in this day and age, in this virtual world, the only real currency you have is your authenticity. It's literally all you have. And I mean, I'm pretty, I've talked about that book last time about Rick Rubin. It's the creative act, a way of being. And he's like, we don't know what the audience wants. He goes, or if you're in business, what the client wants. He goes, the client could tell you something that they want, and then you give them exactly that, and they're like, oh, I don't like this. It's like, ultimately, it has to be what you want. So continue expressing your opinion, continue to say what you think and what you feel, and continue being your authentic self, because ultimately that's really what you're selling. You're selling yourself. That's what I'm doing. I'm selling my opinion, and people don't like it. Some people like it, some people don't. If they don't like it, fuck them. I don't care.
Right.
Like, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter what, like, if you're creating content or doing anything and you're worried about, are these people gonna like it, the only person that it really matters if they like it is you. Right. That is the only person that matter when you're doing something creative and you're creating something. The most important person that should like it is you. And so keep doing what you're doing. Don't stress about this. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. You'll pick up those followers. But of course, sometimes people are going to like it. Sometimes they won't. Who cares? Like, it's more important about expressing yourself. I mean, I do
get sucked in.
Yeah, of course. Well, listen, hey, man,
read
I do another podcast, and I've had family members come up and tell me that they didn't like this certain joke, or they don't like that I swear, and I certainly don't do it gratuitously. Right. I don't just swear to swear. I if I do curse, it's a feeling. Emphasis. It's how I feel. It's how I feel if we were talking at a bar, if you were over at my house hanging out. So I'm not doing it for effect or trying to be cool. I'm doing it because that's who I am.
Right. And I'm a bad boy.
Yeah. Totally.
Mom, I'm a bad boy.
Exactly. So when I have family members come up to me, or people like that are not fans of the show, it's like, that's great. It's not for you. There's so much other content out there. Enjoy that. I'm doing me. This isn't for you. It's really for me. I mean, I mean, we're doing this podcast. Yeah, obviously we want engagement. We want people to listen. But ultimately, if we're being honest, it's for us. It's for
it makes us feel good.
Yeah, it makes us feel good because we have thoughts and opinions, and we're creative, and we care about sports, and we care about pop culture. We obviously have strong opinions, and we express them. And people like it or they don't. And however that plays out is out of our control. But what we can control is being our authentic self. So don't let anyone change you, regardless of any followers or what anyone say on the internet. Don't worry.
Yeah, and just keeping in mind that, like, when I look at my phone and I go through the comments, just reminding myself, like, that's not the real world. That's not a real world. That's literally just text.
These people would never say that to you if you saw them in person, which you never would.
Oh, hell no, dude. I'd flex on them so fucking hard, dude.
Dude, let it go. It's okay. It's all right, man. Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it.
You're not. You're not kidding. Because if you saw some of these people in real life, you would definitely confront them. I know you would.
Yeah, I mean, people have said stuff to me before. They've all been positive, like if I've seen them in public.
Sure.
But
yeah, I don't think you would like hit them or anything. But I definitely think you would confront them. I think you'd be like, hey,
I wouldn't be able to recognize them because they don't have an avatar profile picture with their face on it.
It's probably like user 59346.
Yeah, 100%. Butt kisser 424. All right, that was a good discussion on that whole thing. I think we saw both sides, can see some understanding, and hopefully we can get some clarity here soon, because I do think that is important for how people feel. John, how big was your boner during episode 1 of Hard Knocks?
Oh, man.
I don't want to know that, but wasn't it?
It was pretty big. It was pretty big. It's basically how
wanted him to act.
Wanted him to act the last 8 years. I knew it was in him, but he just he didn't have to, just out of laziness. He's like, I can kind of do whatever I want. I'm literally the mayor of Wisconsin, being in a small market. And then definitely when they drafted Jordan Love, he was basically like, I'm not gonna burn this place to the ground because I'll look bad. But out of spite,
I'm gonna have one foot out.
But out of spite, it was like the drafting of Jordan Love did a couple things. It was the beginning of the end of the Rodgers era. He would never forget that. He, in his mind,
too much pride.
His inner monologue was like, I'll just speak how I'll be like, like that that anger translator that Key and Peele used to do for Barack Obama. I'm going to do that for Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah.
So this is Aaron Rodgers' anger translator to Brian Gutekunst when when they drafted Jordan Love, and he was totally surprised. You traded up to draft a quarterback from Utah State. I am the greatest fucking player in the history of your organization. This team would be nothing without me. Absolutely nothing. You should be thanking God every single day that the 49ers picked Alex Smith instead of me. I am the best thing and the greatest thing that ever happened to your franchise. And the fact that you traded up to draft a totally unproven quarterback from Utah State is such bullshit and the ultimate disrespect to me that I'm fucking done with you. And whatever time I have left here, that guy is never going to see the field. I am going to show you how fucking great I am, and then you're going to pay me a ton of money, and I'm going to hold it over you. How dare you? All right. So that's literally what he thought. But he can't say it. People say he's passive aggressive, and he is, because that's what he wants to say, and he can't say it because he'll sound like an asshole, like I just sounded. But he can't say that. He's the quarterback. That's not what a leader does. But I'm telling you, that's how he feels. And he's justified in a lot of that. That team would suck. Green Bay is not getting anybody.
And we'll see it this season.
We're not getting any free agents. Oh, we're going to see it. And the Packers know. He sucks. Yeah. Jordan Love is not good. Okay? Yeah. He's not a top 10 quarterback. He's probably not even a top 15 quarterback.
No.
That's the reason they gave him that extension. People know. I remember I've talked about this on the pod. They're like, how quickly can you assess if a quarterback's good? And this guy replied, I think it was Brian Dawkins. They were interviewing him, and he goes, 2 practices. He goes, talk to anybody at the Chiefs. He goes, they saw Mahomes, 2 practices. They go, he's got it. He goes, Donald Driver and Greg Jennings went to Ted Thompson, and they drafted Rodgers after 2 practices with a Hall of Famer Brett Favre, and they go, Aaron throws a better ball. Aaron's more accurate. Aaron's got more juice. He's better. He's more talented than Favre. And they're like, 2 practices. That's how quickly it takes. Jordan Love is not the answer. So to see back to Hard Knocks, to see Rodgers being the person I always wanted him to be was so gratifying to see. And I was okay with it, honestly. I mean, a part of it made me a little sad because he didn't do it with Green Bay, but they fucked him over. Drafting Jordan Love was a mistake. It was a colossal mistake. He could have ended his career there.
They should have gotten weapons for Rodgers, right? That's what's the biggest slap in the face is you're going to waste that pick and get my replacement as opposed to getting someone who can help me and we can do something.
There's no way you can't say it's not a fuck you to Rodgers. Like there's no way. There's
right.
No look at his stats. Like in 2018, maybe he didn't have the best year, but he had Hall of Fame stats every other year. You don't just drop off a cliff at 36 or whatever when Brady's playing till 45. It just doesn't happen that way. It was a slap in the face. And then the other thing too is they didn't even tell him. They didn't even give him a heads up.
Right. He found out as everyone else did.
He goes, I get it. He goes, it happened to me with Brett. He goes, All I needed was just a heads up. He goes, and they didn't tell me because they probably knew they were going to have to listen to this, which they should have. But it would have been better the alternative. Now, I think them drafting Jordan Love equated to his back-to-back MVPs. There's out of spite.
Yeah.
He's so talented, and out of spite, he's so vengeful that he was unbelievable those 2 years. I don't think he gets those 2 MVPs without the drafting of Jordan Love. But unfortunately, it did result with him leaving the organization. So, love the first episode of Hard Knocks. It was great. I can't get enough of that content. I just would have liked to see it with the Packers.
Yeah, he seems like and I hate Aaron Rodgers, right? Obviously,
Obviously. Every Bear fan hates Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I don't want to see him succeed. I don't like his personality for the last 2 decades. But episode 1, John, he does come off.
He's trying. He's trying.
He comes off as a cool guy, and the leadership is something I haven't been exposed to before. I haven't seen from him, and I'm not saying like I'm on Aaron Rodgers bandwagon or anything, but like it is nice to see like the things
cool
that he was saying. Get all the quarterbacks in here. All right, guys. Hey, starting training camp now. Remember, go sit with somebody new each day. Learn something new about your teammates. Blah blah. I'm just like, where did that come from? Like,
here's why he's doing that. Okay, his image took a hit the last couple of years with the whole vaccine thing and a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
he did not look good. He brought a lot of negativity on himself and a lot of
he put out a bad blog article.
100%. He lost some followers big time, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think his image has a lot of repairing to do, and that's very important to him, and he's very self-aware. So I think that he is consciously doing that. He knows the cameras are on him. He knows this is New York, and he's really trying hard to be that person. That he could have been in Green Bay, but he didn't have to. He's
It's almost like I think it's like a girlfriend, John, maybe that you've been with for 4 years or whatever, and it's kind of at the tail end. You guys are getting on each other's nerves, and you're like, man, I can't stand to be around you. And then you get a new girlfriend, and now you're just like opening doors and doing all this kind of stuff, not to repair your image, but I think it's like a breath of fresh air. Like he gets a new start. You can almost reinvent yourself.
It's all the time, like baseball, what a change of scenery does. Look at Jason Hayward from the Cubs to the Dodgers. I mean, Are you kidding me? Look at Joey Gallo, going to the Twins. You're like, what? Mm-hmm. Is this the same player?
Right.
Look, someone living in Green Bay for 18 years and then going to New York City. Okay. That's a huge, huge culture shock where you're like, oh my God, things are open past 10 p.m.?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's actually fun things to do besides going to Barnes & Noble and Schnucks. Like, there's a lot of, there's so many more things that he is exposed to and gets to do, and I think he's loving that. I think he was tired. I think he would have spent his whole career in Green Bay because I think that was important to him. It meant a lot that they drafted him, but I think he's very happy being out of there. After what Gutekunst did, it was irreparable. He just couldn't. He goes, I'm going to show you because I'm under contract. And he won back-to-back MVPs. And then he pieced out.
Loved all the handshakes he has with all of his teammates.
Dude, he's trying hard. I'm telling you. He's trying really hard. He's trying to repair his image. And HBO is really helping him, too. Because I think they didn't want to do Hard Knocks. And from what I've read, back alley blogs, is that he had to say that he was like, I didn't have a say, they just chose us. Bullshit. He was like, okay, if we're going to do Hard Knocks, not that he gets final cut, but I guarantee you there's something in the Hard Knocks contract that he gets to see the episode before it airs. That is such a guarantee. Because by doing the Jets, you're going to get massive viewership, right? You're going to get Rodgers, and you're going to get a team that's actually probably going to be pretty good, which is the complete opposite of all Hard Knocks
of who they've
teams.
been.
They're traditionally shitty teams. So I guarantee you he was he doesn't like Hard Knocks, and he thinks this is a distraction. But he was like, if you're gonna choose the Jets, I get a say in what the episodes are. Like, if there's something unfavorable or that it has me in unfavorable light, we're not gonna air that. I have some license over that. Kind of like Michael Jordan had over the Last Dance. I know that's crazy, but I know him, and he has to control everything, specifically his narrative. And he's so focused on repairing his image that I'm sure that's somewhere in the contract, because HBO is really doing him a solid by doing this, and he's trying really hard. He couldn't have looked better at episode 1. He couldn't have looked better.
He
Also,
kept saying
the
voice of God. Go say hi. It's the voice of God.
My favorite part was in the episode wasn't even from Rodgers. It was from the defensive coordinator in the film room talking about. He goes, guys, we're going to be in every single game. He goes, this is perfect defense. This is absolutely perfect defense. Like,
one
doesn't
person
matter
on the
what
planet.
happens, we're going to be in every game. He goes, this throw. He goes, it's on the opposite side of the field. It's off his back foot, and he's throwing across his body and a back shoulder fade, and he throws it perfectly. He goes, only one guy can make that throw, and he's our guy.
And he's on our
ours.
team.
He's our team.
Yeah.
That was the best part, because I had seen Rodgers.
They were all like,
forever.
yeah.
Yeah, because, like, of course, he's so gifted. He's unbelievable. I will always love him. He gave me some of the best times of my life as a Packer fan. Like, I will love him always. I don't care if he wins a Super Bowl or he's a bust with the Jets. He gave me some of the best times in my life in my 20s. Like, 20s, there were some ups and downs, some relationships that didn't go well or whatever. Your 20s are up and, the high highs and the low lows. But what I could consistently count on is that every Sunday that he would show up and just dominate, and my team would win. Like that, it was just such a great feeling knowing that, like, my life's kind of chaotic right now, but every Sunday when I watch the Packers, he's gonna light it up, and it was such an awesome feeling.
What about?
It was a gift to watch him. It's awesome.
What about Nathaniel Hackett? What were your thoughts on him? I thought he was
stroke fest between him and Rodgers. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, it was very much where they love each other. I love him. We're best friends, and
yeah. And the other thing is they're doing everything to make him happy. You know what I mean? Like,
sure,
he should be happy. They got Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is like, at this point, almost a non-serviceable NFL player. Like, he can play every 6 games, and then he gets hurt. But they got him because Aaron wanted him. They just got Delvin Cook. I guarantee you, Aaron wanted him. I mean, he's like this. Hall's coming off an ACL injury. What Aaron wants, Aaron gets, and he's at that point in his career where he's like, I want this.
If the Jets went and got Derek Carr, Delvin Cook doesn't sign there. Like you said, that's true. It's a true testament to him going to running backs, going to Delvin Cook, saying like, "Hey, we have a winning culture here. If you want to win, come here." Short contract. He's like, "We're in win now mode. Come with me." So that was.
And that's a Rodgers. He doesn't go there unless Rodgers is with the Jets.
Right.
You know what I mean? So use Rodgers as a recruiting tool. He talked with Green Bay about that for years, and they never did it. They're like, he's like, use me as a recruiting tool to get better receivers, and ultimately they didn't want to pay them the money because Green Bay is always like, oh, we'll draft, we'll trade, we'll develop, and it's like, no, like, let's pay some money to get some legit wide receivers. I mean, don't forget, like, they drafted Devontae Adams. You know what I mean? They've never paid for a high-priced free agent, other than Reggie White was like the last one. But those days are over. Like, in 2023, I don't think any millennial or Gen Z player is going to be like, oh, I'll go to Green Bay. It's like, that's the last place they're going to want to go, which is why drafting and player development is so important to Green Bay, because they're not going to get any top free agents ever. That's why they couldn't get OBJ. OBJ didn't want to go to Green Bay. He's like, Rodgers is cool, but it's freezing. I'm going to go to
John, you sent me an article in regards to the NFL Top 100 list. It looks like a video you sent me. You sent me a video.
I just wanted to talk about.
Do you have the list in front of you? And we're not going to go through them all.
No,
but
we're not, obviously not going to go through the. But I'm gonna do the top. I'm gonna do the top 5 and see if you agree. I'll start with number 5, Travis Kelce. I think that's a bit high for a tight end.
You think so? But he's not a tight end, John. He's a wide receiver. He doesn't play in this, a typical tight end blocking position. He had over 100 points more than the next tight end in fantasy. And I know fantasy is different from production on the field, but let's be honest. I mean, he's a wide receiver. That's why he's taken so high in drafts. He's not a true tight end. Okay. Would you agree?
Okay. Yes, I would agree with that. You know what? You know what I wouldn't agree with? The 13th best player in the top 100 is Devontae Adams.
Okay.
13. Last year?
Right.
That's crazy.
Could be name recognition. You kind of throw them in.
We should note these are voted by the players.
Okay. That makes a big difference.
Number 9, Micah Parsons. Dude, I think he's like a top 3. That dude is. I think he's like the next Aaron Donald. He is unstoppable. That guy.
The Eagles schemed up against him every game, and they ran right at him.
Dude, he's so good. I think he's incredible.
Okay, I'll show you some tape against the Eagles, how they schemed up against him.
Number 3, your boy, Jalen Hurts. Sorry, way too high on the list. Number 3, that's insane.
For a quarterback who was in the MVP discussion second last season, one of the best MVP. You hold Rodgers to highly regarded multiple MVPs, and he was up there with Mahomes. Granted, if he doesn't get hurt in that Bears game, who knows? Could have won MVP. So you don't think he's that high?
Number 3, no. I don't think he's better than Joe Burrow, who's at 6. I don't think he's better than Josh Allen at 8.
I would disagree with you there.
I don't think he's better than Aaron Donald at 11.
John, the quarterback is the hardest position in football. Can we agree to that? The hardest position.
I know. I'm looking for other quarterbacks.
And for you to
so he's not. So Mahomes is 1. I don't think he's better than Mahomes. I think we can agree on that.
Mahomes is good at 1. I mean, that's accurate.
I don't think Jalen Hurts is better than Burrow, and I don't think he's better than Allen. He might be the next best quarterback as of last year, but this is just last year performance. He did it for 1 year.
Okay, and my argument is he is continuing to ascend. He hasn't peaked. He hasn't reached his full potential. Looking at other things, these are optics outside of the field, and I know that doesn't go into it. It doesn't matter at all. All that matters is performance on the field, but leadership. Jalen Hurts is the most mature 25-year-old. You'll hear that from coaches, from players. First one in the building in the morning, last one to leave. He basically lives at the confines, which I understand tons of players put in lots of time and effort. Quarterback is the hardest position to play in the NFL. He had an amazing season last year, and I know that's a very small sample size. Before that, not impressive, right? We saw what he did against the Buccaneers in that playoff game. Atrocious. Very bad. The leaps and bounds he made from that last game to last season were huge. My argument is that it's going to continue to ascend. One of the best athletes on the field as well. When you look at some of the schemes that they run on offense, those RPOs, a lot of the time they will leave a linebacker open during the RPOs, and they rely on Jalen to just use his athleticism to shake him. Okay, there's nobody accounted for a linebacker. It's one-on-one, and they take that because they know that his athleticism will beat that linebacker. I think a lot of that stuff goes unrecognized if you don't watch, closely to their offensive schemes and things like that, and kind of how they run it.
Do you think that's sustainable long term?
No, just like a UFC fighter, I think there's cage time. Just like NFL quarterbacks, they can't get. That's why Patrick Mahomes doesn't need to run as much as he should. He's not QB sneaking. His knee, he got fucked up his knee that one time and was hanging on the side of his, the back of his calf. I don't know. I mean, what the timetable is for how sustainable that is, but the RPO offense is working, dude. I mean, they have the running backs who do it. They invested in the trenches. That O-line is one of the best in football. So when you have one of the best O-lines, you have a a quarterback who squats 500 pounds. That's why they can convert on 4th and 1 90% of the time. You don't see other teams doing that, John. That's what, they wanted to ban it. They wanted to ban the QB sneak because of the Eagles, not because of anybody else, because the Eagles ran it and they were highly effective with it because of the things that I mentioned. So I'm obviously going to be biased because I watch every Eagles game, and now I'm a fan now of the Eagles.
Are you a bigger Eagles fan than a Bears fan? Has that happened?
I don't know how to quantify it. I've been a Bears fan longer.
Yeah, but you have to pick one. Like if Bears were playing Philadelphia, who are you rooting for?
The Bears, and I do the same thing with the Cubs and Phillies. Always that'll always happen. But I'm immersed in the culture now. You know what I mean?
So I totally get it. If I was in Philly, it'd be hard to. I totally get it.
Yeah, and everybody's crazy about it. So I'm engulfed in the culture, which I enjoy and I appreciate. It's a very exciting time for their sports teams. But and I watch them all, so I know everything that's going on with the team.
In the top 100, for the first time in the history of the top 100, a Bears quarterback was listed. Number 86, Justin Fields.
Jay Cutler never made the cut?
No, dude, never. How embarrassing.
Yeah. Justin Fields, athlete, right? You just look at him and didn't have a lot of protection last year. What number is he at? Where's he ranked?
86.
86. I would say that's pretty accurate. I don't think he would deserve to go up any higher, but also not any lower.
Is he the best Bears quarterback you've seen in your lifetime, or would you say Jay Cutler?
No, I was not a fan of Jay Cutler. I didn't like it.
I know you're not a fan, but who was the best since you were born in 1989?
8.
So since 1988, who's the best Bears quarterback that you've seen?
Jim Miller, Eric Kramer.
Dude,
no, it's not. I understand.
It's either Fields or it's Cutler.
Yeah, it's not Justin Fields yet. It's not Justin Fields yet, and I'm hoping. Unfortunately, I guess the best Bears player I ever seen was Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, Robbie Gold has the most.
I thought Matt Forte was grossly underrated. He was so good.
But Robbie Gold has the most points in Bears history. He was diehard, Bears for life. But Fields not the best quarterback I've seen yet, and I'm hoping that it happens. Good step this season would be to throw for 4,000 yards. No Bears quarterback has ever thrown for 4,000 yards. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it's ever or in the last 50 years, something like that. But no, the Bears have never had a good quarterback. They never had a good offense.
I can tell you that no Bear quarterback has really ever been that good. So that kind of correlates into not throwing for 4,000 yards.
Exactly.
That's pretty easy.
And I'm hoping he will be the best quarterback I've seen, but not over the past couple seasons, obviously.
Listen, obviously a diehard Packer fan. I like him.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I like his game. I like watching him. Bears, he's exciting to watch. I really don't like these rollouts that they do where he just gets hurt. I'm just can you do a design play or a rollout with a quick pass or has some sort of design where you're using his athleticism but getting the ball out early so you're not getting him wrecked? Because I selfishly, we get Bears games here and my wife's a Bear fan, so I have to watch them.
Yeah.
And some of those games last year were just brutal to watch. So I'm like, can you make this a little bit more competitive or get him an offensive line? Because he is exciting to watch, but he's not going to be exciting to watch if he's limping around the field. He can barely stand at the end of the season.
Sure. I'd like to see tight end involved a little bit more. I know Cole Kmet got paid this offseason.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, you're a Notre Dame guy, right? You like Notre Dame?
Yeah, Notre Dame.
Yeah, so Cole Kmet he came out of Notre Dame. Big, strong guy, can catch.
They have a great tight end farm system for the NFL.
Yeah,
there's so many great tight ends.
They're 8 deep every season, at the beginning. 8 or 9 deep.
And tight ends, a lot of good ones.
Yeah. So, accurate, Justin Fields.
Cool. Do we want to talk about that Orioles broadcaster getting suspended?
We could brush on it. It's just, it was dumb. I think we just all agree what he said. Nothing was egregious at all.
He was an owner getting pissed off. Yeah, exactly. Okay, everyone pretty much agrees on that. Want to do Cubs Sox? End it?
Yeah. So
we got Hendricks tonight.
2-game series, if I'm correct.
Yes, and then they have another off day on Thursday. Hendricks versus What's that guy's name?
Touki Toussaint.
Tuki Toussaint.
Yes.
I think the Cubs. I really like. I think ever since the Talkman catch,
I got to put that bet in.
I just really I like Swanson and Nico up the middle, and honestly, really the fact that Bellinger is like almost back to. I'm not gonna say he's like an MVP, but he's back to being the Cody Bellinger that we know. That is
Highly productive.
huge. And if Stroman can come back healthy, Steele's awesome. I'm not worried about Hendricks. He's going to figure it out. The fact that he's healthy, like it's just a matter of time. And their bullpen, there's a couple of young arms. Like I know Merriweather is pretty good, and it seems like Alzolay has really embraced that closer role.
He has had the most saves. I put a graphic out a couple days ago. The most saves since June 11th, with the most opportunities, converting 15 out of 16, I believe.
Yeah. So I like him. I don't. I know the Brewers have some stud starters, and when they get a lead and Devin Williams comes in, geez, that dude is so gross. My God, he's so good. But I think they're definitely contenders, and I definitely think they can take both of these from the Sox. I have a feeling that Hendricks is going to be nails tonight. I just have a feeling it's going to be really good.
I just placed a bet Cubs minus 1.5 at plus 110. Last time they played, John, Sox gave up 16 earned runs to the Cubs in 2 games. Played about a month ago. Cubs did strike out 20 times, but they also hit 303 when they played away at South Side, very close. They had 6 home runs. Nico Horner 5 hits in 2 games, including a home run. Swanson 2 home runs in 1 game. Touki Toussaint has given up 4 earned runs in each of his last 2 starts. So Cubs, I think they can get to him. The 3.46 ERA in July. Hendricks versus the White Sox last time, 6 1/3, 3 runs on 4 hits. He's given up only 3 earned runs or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. White Sox bottom of the league in batting average, OPS, runs scored. Sox just got swept over the weekend. Cubs just won a series against the Blue Jays.
The season to be over. They are done.
They got nothing to play for. They
just want the season to be over with.
And everything for the Cubs, every single game matters now. So I think the Cubs, if you're David Ross, you are honing in and saying, hey, we got Crosstown tonight, and we need to beat them up, okay? Yeah. Every game matters right now.
Let's roll them 2 games. I don't want these games to be close. Let's hit some balls out of the ballpark. It's a small ballpark. And then let's go on a nice off day on Thursday, and then get back to it on Friday. Like these 2 games should be like in and out. Like let's roll this team who basically is just dead. Like dead man walking.
I'm looking for the White Sox rollover. They have no.
Hendricks is going to be. If Hendricks is good tonight, I just think they're going to win, and then tomorrow night they're not going to win. I feel like Hendricks can really set the tone tonight. If Hendricks is good and can show he's I think they're going to be fine. So
all right, so I do have a free bet here, John. We're going to put it on a anytime home run. So who are we going to put this on? I already have Cubs minus 1.5. That was at plus 110. So hopefully they win by 2 or more runs. But I mentioned Swanson had the 2 homers. Nico had a home run. Yan Gomes had the only double or 2 doubles. So let's do a home run prop. Who are we going to put that on for the Cubs tonight?
Who's pitching for the Sox?
Touki Toussaint.
I'll take Bellinger.
Bellinger? All right, let's see what these odds are. Cody Bellinger plus 550. Anybody lower? Christopher Morel is at 525. I'm just trying to see who's Ian Happ at 550. Dansby plus 500. So what do you want to do? Would you Swanson or Happ or Christopher Morel?
I can see Happ going yard tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So we won't look at recency bias from the last series with Nico or Swanson. We'll go with somebody new.
Yeah, I think coming off an off day at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over home runs, plus 550. Ian Happ, locked in.
Sweet.
All right, let's win some money.
Awesome, dude.
I'm very over betting baseball. I stopped like a week ago, I think. There's just too much. It's such a grind, dude. I'm gonna save my bankroll for football season.
Yeah. Well, that's why people. It's like a full-time job. I mean, it's hard to keep up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people don't play fantasy baseball. Fantasy
Yeah.
baseball, like I don't think people realize fantasy baseball. You're signing up to be like a general manager of a team. So
Right.
get ready if you want to win to take on a semi like full-time job. Like that's how much it takes. Like how many transactions people get hurt, call-ups. You have to research farm systems. It's crazy how much time it takes. Like,
Yeah, there's a guy in
so
my
hard.
league. I get the notifications. He's moving, dude. Like he takes it serious, and he's in first place. But he's the one claiming players. Everyone else is sleeping.
You have to do it's a full-time job. That's why fantasy football is just so great. It's easy. You can set your lineup. It's just.
I'm still looking for a league, John. I got invited to play in a league with my realtor. He's my buddy, Chris. They play 9 players on offense and 9 players on defense.
That's interesting.
I said, no way.
That's
do
way
I want to
too
do
much
that.
work, though. It's interesting, but not something that I would want to join. There's no way.
No. So, yeah, I'm still looking for a draft. I play one a year just because I like to go all in on one team. I don't like to do everybody, I got my tight end on one team, but in my big money league, I got a defense.
I'm with you. I do.
2 is fine. I can see 2, but anything other than that is just
I've been
egregious.
doing a family league for years, for like almost 10 years. So that's when we just do with our family, like cousins, dad, uncle, cousins. And then last year, my wife, because we moved to the new neighborhood, wanted me to meet new people. So I did the neighborhood league, which I was dominating. And I think we talked the DeMar Hamlin thing. Mm-hmm. I had Singletary and I had Allen in that game, and
I had Diggs.
I would have won the league, and they canceled it, and that was it.
Same thing with me. We split though. We split first and second.
I got nothing.
Wow, that's heartbreaking.
So that's why I'm like, I don't want to play again. But she's like, well, you played last year. Like they're gonna think that, so you got to play again.
Yeah. All right, John. That's gonna be our episode.
Cool, man. We'll end on the neighborhood politics.
60 minutes. It's
Beautiful.
like a TV show. All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Thank you.
Peace to all the haters.